After the demise of the Volt and then the Bolt, Chevy is finally starting to get its EV mojo back with a trifecta of offerings, including the new Equinox, the Silverado, and this, the midsize Blazer. While Honda ramps up plans to bring EV production in-house, its first U.S. offering arrives with a little help from a longtime friend. This is the Prologue electric SUV, co-developed with and built by General Motors with a smattering of unique Honda touches. So you're buying your first electric car and you're hearing good things about the Chevy Blazer, which, by the way, has nothing to do with the soon-to-be discontinued gas-powered Blazer. But then you see a commercial touting Honda's colorful new EV, and they seem pretty similar in terms of size and pricing. What do? Well, I'm about to help you sort that out with a throwdown between the top two trim levels of each model: the 2024 Blazer EV RS all-wheel drive and the 2024 Honda Prologue Elite. Now, this Blazer stickers for $57,710 before substantial EV discounts, and the Prologue $190 more, also before discounts. And both qualify for a $7,500 rebate depending upon certain conditions. Unlike the Blazer EV, which is available in a more powerful rear-wheel drive model with greater driving range, all Prologue trims come standard with the same 85 kilowatt-hour battery in either a front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive layout. Now, this top-of-the-line Elite trim is standard with all-wheel drive, producing 288 horsepower and 333 pound-feet of instantaneous torque, the same exact numbers as a comparable Blazer's. But if you are cross-shopping, there are some other aspects to consider. And it's mainly very nuanced. Both can fast charge up to a maximum of 150 kilowatts, so not hyper fast, but good for around 65 miles of added range for every 10 minutes of charge time. A complete charge at home from empty to full takes 9.5 hours at 240 volts, and you can trickle in about 4 miles per hour at 120 volts. There are little differences in passenger and cargo volume, but not enough to sway you one way or another. Towing maximum of 1,500 pounds is also the same for both. So maybe you like the look of one over the other. There's certainly enough differentiation in the designs to hide the fact that they're essentially twins. I personally like this exclusive North Shore pearl paint on the Prologue, but this radiant red Blazer ain't too bad either. Inside, the Blazer's available adrenaline red interior is far spicier than the Prologue's staid Honda styling, and the Chevy screen game is stronger, with one major caveat. As an iPhone user, I love Apple CarPlay. It's nothing new, of course. It's been on the market for many years. It's ubiquitous in almost every vehicle on the market, and most often nowadays it's actually a wireless connection, which is very nice. But with its new EVs, Chevy has decided you don't need it anymore. Instead, their solution is called Google Built-in, which comprises the Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store. So, for me, most of my favorite apps are not available in the Play Store. I can't receive my text messages easily here on the screen. And so for me, this would actually be a deal breaker. And I've heard the same thing from other prospective Blazer EV buyers who are turning to the Honda Prologue because the Prologue still offers it. Other than using Honda's muted colors and fonts, this is the same exact infotainment system you will find in the Blazer EV, which is to say it's very good, super intuitive, and it will take you no time at all to get up to speed with it. And with the Google built-in services like the Google Assistant, you can ask it natural language voice commands. Hey Google, set the temperature to 74 degrees.
Got it. Changing the temperature to 74 degrees.
And to really cement GM's involvement here, there's a little blue OnStar button overhead. Rated at 273 miles, there's a little less driving range here. There is no Super Cruise availability here. There's no rear view camera mirror. And the screens and the interior as a whole just isn't as impressive looking. On the other hand, there's a beautiful panoramic roof, a real start button, a more reliably designed charge port door, and perhaps most important of all, Honda still offers Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to complement the Google built-in services. Chevy doesn't. As the top trim levels, both the Prologue Elite and Blazer EV RS are loaded with goodies and safety features. But even though this Blazer is equipped with the optional convenience and driver confidence package, it doesn't have a pano roof. FYI, Super Cruise has been reserved for the 2025 model year Blazers. And though some might prefer a car that turns on and off by simply getting in and out of it, as is the case here, I do like the Prologue start-stop button. And will this mechanical charge port door hold up over time? Well, we'll have to see about that. Dimensionally, the Prologue offers passenger volume that is on par with that of the midsize Passport SUV, while its cargo volume is nearly identical to that of the smaller HR-V. And though these seats don't slide, they do recline a little, and this flat floor means that 3 across back here is definitely in play. Ditto in the Blazer, but the Chevy has heated rear seats as well. Under the cargo floor is additional storage. Much like in the Prologue that I recently tested, there's not a ton of personality here from behind the wheel, nor is it particularly quick for an EV, but the ride is competent, the suspension tune compliant, and the cabin is quiet. The weakest link here is most certainly the steering, which has an artificial feel to it, making it not that much fun to drive on the back roads. But it is a solid feeling SUV with plenty of space that'll leave no one complaining. It's rated at 279 miles on a full charge. As for the Prologue, well, it's pretty much the same story. I mostly like the way the Prologue drives because it's linear and immediate in its power delivery. And of course, it's pretty darn quiet in here. But even though Honda has done its own suspension tuning, there's just not a lot of personality from behind the wheel. It's neither particularly quick nor nimble for an EV, and I really don't like the way the steering feels. But perhaps my favorite part is that low-speed pedestrian warning music it plays. Pretty darn cool. Ah, soothing, isn't it? For the 2025 model year, Chevy finally introduces the higher-performing Blazer EV SS and a new front-wheel drive variant, making it the first vehicle I can ever recall that will simultaneously be available in front, rear, and all-wheel drive. As for the Prologue, this is a one generation and done, as Honda brings EV production in-house later this decade. So which one is for you? It'll likely come down to a small detail or the dealership experience. But either way, this GM-Honda collaboration has produced 2 very appealing electric SUVs. For Drive Time, I'm Steve Hammis.